Okay, welcome everybody to Beacon Hills After Dark, Season 1 Rewatch. Woo, 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 it's boo-hiss. I, of course, am StickyKeys. Joining us tonight is involuntary permanent co-host Ethan. Say hi, Ethan.
I had to crawl out of my bed for this.
I know, but I love your little cocoon blanket. I got mine too. So I'm going to be all bundled up. To Ethan's right is involuntary engineer Phillip. Say hi, Phillip.
Hey, guys.
Yay, so glad to have you, boo. And to his right is involuntary Tumblr message DM getter. Amanda, a.k.a. Scruffy Steric. Hey, girl, hey, how you doing?
Good, hi.
Yay, I'm glad you can make it. So, we did episode 1. We did episode 2, Second Chance at First Line, which I'm still upset that that's the title. I don't know why that one out of everything gets to me, but it does. And, we did episode 3, Pack Mentality, and now we are doing episode 4, Magic Bullet. I hate the name of this episode so much. Toby Wilkins and Daniel Sinclair, other people that I don't think we saw much of in the later seasons. I would like to track down these people and be like, are you still working? And if so, how?
And if so, how?
How dare they? It's so gross. And I can't even remember if this has anything gross in it, but I just feel like it's going to. So we'll see.
There's a couple gross things.
Okay, good times.
All involving Derek.
When we last left off, Scott was going through some things, going through the werewolf change, stalking Allison like crazy, and Allison was stalking him right back, and she's like, I don't know what it is about you. And Styles was being wonderful. Derek was being uber creepy and beating up Scott and fighting in the house. And what else? That's all I can remember. I've already
The Argents were being ugly.
Oh, yeah, the Argent. Well, but the Argents were getting their pose on with that gun. And he was like, Derek Hale. And everything very obvious. We got some Mama McCall, McCall family feels, and all that jazz. So, good times. As per usual, we are going to start. I will tell you when we're going to press play and when we are going to talk, and I will count down. I'll try to keep to the time code as much as possible. First, I'm going to steal the remote from Phantom Slash. Yeah, I got the remote. I'm the captain now. And, what's this? What's happening? Does everybody see the screen within a screen? Oh, that was on me.
Yeah.
That was my bad. Hold on. I hit the wrong one. There we go. Yeah. This is a previously on, so we'll watch this real quick. Hold on. See if it jogs our memory. The closed caption says, "Get away!"
On Team Wolf. Get away. Derek! I need your help. You want to know
Scott.
that you'll hurt her.
Derek!
It's not going to come for free. Don't think for a second of giving up on finding out what your little secret is.
Oh,
Think
he
for it
looks
is
so
right.
good.
You don't want her to find out about it either.
Ugh.
And then he's suddenly good at bowling.
Right?
You ruined my life! I'm not the one that bit you. There's another called an alpha. He's the one that bit you. You're part of his pack.
All right. It's so stupid. I'm not ready, but I guess we have to. We are at time code 35, and we are going to press play in 5. All right, we'll just do 3. In 3, 2, 1, and play. Oh, here's Kate.
How old is Kate Argent supposed to be?
She's got to be like 30 something. Ooh. Okay. Wait. God dang it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about that. This show is such trash. Girl, keep your eyes on the road. I always love when there's one terrible driver. Why did she have to bear a rollout?
Come on! Come on!
The sucky thing is I kind of love Kate after that.
That is not like.
It's not convenient. It's like that's a lot to do to put a bullet in her gun.
Let's do the warning. Is everything okay?
Yeah, she's just had a little car trouble.
What serious is it?
No, just a flat tire. Go back to bed.
So she wears a bra to bed, but she doesn't wear a bra to school. And it's a padded bra. I'm confused.
Oh, my little baby. He looks so soft.
What is this claymation King Kong nonsense? And why does he look like that? Developed by Jeff Davis Lord. Ah, Derek! Oh, I forgot how awful this was. I shouldn't be laughing. Kate has been a dick from the start. I love her. God dang it. Why'd they ruin her? Oh, this is that episode.
Hello? Nice to see you.
All I've got at the moment is please put the assault rifle away before someone notices.
This is the brother I love. Chris, there was two of them.
The Alpha?
I don't know, but one of them tried to kill me.
One of them's going to lead us to the other. He can't do that if he's dead.
Well, I can't help kill either of them if one of them kills me first.
How long will it take?
Give him 48 hours. If that.
Aw.
your knockout. In fact, I hope you have the boys knocking each other's teeth out for your attention.
I kind of have one.
You should kind of have one.
Do you still have them back?
No, not that one. See? You turn out beautiful, and I end up with this kung fu death grip. Sorry, sweetie. I didn't mean to be... No worries.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, is everything okay with your car? Yeah. I just needed a jump start, that's all.
A jump start?
Derek isn't the alpha. If he's not the one who bit you, then who did? I don't know. Did the alpha kill the bus driver?
I love his little pouty face.
Dude, you need to study more. That was a joke. Scott, it's one test. You're gonna make it up. Do you want help studying?
No, studying with Allison after school day.
That's my boy.
We're just studying.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
Not if I'm forced to live vicariously through you. If you go to our house today and squander that colossal opportunity, I swear to God I'll have you deboned.
Okay,
No.
just stop with the questions.
Done. No more questions. No more talk about the alpha or Derek. Especially Derek,
You know you want to talk about Derek.
who still scares me.
He's still thinking of
The
Derek.
fear boner. Oh. Why is he in the school?
That is a look.
Right?
We're Scott McCall. Why should I tell you? Because I asked you politely, and I only do that once. Okay, tough guy. You know, how about I help you find it if you tell me what you're selling him? What is it? Is it Dynamo? HGH? Steroids? No, Girl Scout cookies. What the hell do you think I'm talking about? Oh, no. By the way, whatever it is you're selling, I'd probably stop sampling the merchandise. You look wrecked.
Jensen is everything.
Finding myself. No, we're not done here.
Scott's coming over tonight? We're just studying together. Just studying never ends with just studying. It's like getting into a hot tub. Don't we eventually cop feel?
The gloss is popping.
I'm just saying, you know, make sure he covers up. Hello, Snow White. Hasn't been a condom. Are you kidding? After one date? Don't be a total prude. Give him a little taste. Well, I mean, how much is a little taste? Oh, God, you really like him, don't you? Well, he's just different. When I first moved here, I had a plan. No boyfriend till college. I just moved too much, but then I met him, and he was different. I don't know. Can't explain it. I can. It's your brain funny what fell off on me. What? I'll tell you what to do. When's he coming over? I know you should do.
All right. We stopped at 10:58. Oh, this show. Lydia's so horny. I'm here for it. But I did love, she was like,
Yeah.
just the tip. And she's like, give him a little taste, but make sure he covers up.
Why would he need to cover up if it's just a little taste?
Hey, you never know. The things go swimming. Okay, so Kate's line. She said, you ended up a supermodel and I ended up with a kung fu grip.
I was like, that's a yikes.
That is a lie. And I was like, maybe I'm the only one who's reading into this. I'm glad that someone else made a noise. Oh, man.
There were so many lines of dialogue that I was just like...
Right, like, oh, the beginning of the end. If only we had seen it. Amanda, what are your thoughts so far?
Oh God, I haven't watched it for so long. I forgot what it was.
Exactly.
It's like the dialogue's just terrible. And like that scene with Derek like running, doing his like parkour around buildings. It's so choppy. Like everything's just so bad.
Yeah, the editing was really rough on that. Because there was parts where you could tell... Yeah, there were parts where you could tell he was just standing on like a, you could tell that he was standing like in a studio, like in a sound stage. And they were just shooting him up. And then he'd be like moving his arms. And then they would show him running across the roof. You're like, doesn't quite fit together.
And like, Sergeants, after doing this for this long, they still can't get a simple cover story, like flat tire or needed, like, what was it?
A jump?
Yeah.
A jump, yeah.
Like, you couldn't keep that straight?
Yeah. Well, my whole thing with Kate, again, I don't know how much he intended for this. I can't tell how lazy he was being, but it's something that's really going to be undone in the coming seasons. Kate was introduced as like a pretty dope character. And at this point, we're anti-Derek still. We are anti the Alpha. And we are pro-Scott. So Kate's like, I want to take out the Alpha. And I want to take out Derek. Or, the werewolves. Right now, Scott as a werewolf is being treated differently than werewolves. And so you can be kind of pro-Scott and anti-werewolf. But as the show kind of goes, we end up becoming pro-werewolf all around. And you're stuck with these characters. That's why people get so antsy about, why do you always try to redeem Peter? Why do you always try to redeem Peter? Because they gave us very good reasons for him to be redeemed. And kind of in ways the same with Kate, in that they introduced her as a sympathetic kind of character. And when they threw it out, they just didn't throw it out. I don't know how to explain it. It just seems very disjointed. Phillip, I saw you making a face.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like with Peter, there's so many interpretations. Like, out of all of the interpretations you could possibly have, a lot of them give you a lot to work with as far as redeeming Peter. With Kate, there's a very select few of interpretations where I'm like, you can do it, and most of it is dark fic, and the rest of it is just like really, really reaching.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though, is that they gave... Kate was redeemable up until you get to the backstory with her seducing Derek. But we don't find out about that till season 3. Is that right?
Yes. Kind of.
We know that she tries to burn down the house. We figured that part out.
I think don't we get it in the first season? It's just very veiled.
Well, yeah, because remember they do the ab thing and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I know she catches them. Okay, maybe we did
So
miss
that's
it.
like a big kind of reveal of that situation because she talks about how he like grew up really well and like all that creepy stuff. When
And
she
like,
talks about him.
I think later Styles will figure it out in the police reports where he's like, oh. And he never says anything about it, but he's like, oh.
Yeah, he's the one who ties it together, I think. But we find out, I think, in the first season that they already had a history and she kind of used him.
Yeah, because Styles kind of implies it when he's being held in the hospital by Argent.
Well, he's
Before
like,
they go off to get Peter later.
Your little girlfriend.
But you're right. At this point, we don't know. But I had this icky feeling about her because it's just everything is so overtly sexual. Even when she's talking with Allison, it's like,
well, that
like,
comes
I get that
grip.
that's the way like some women talk to their family and stuff like that. Like, oh, you're so gorgeous, and you should have all these men, and blah 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 blah. And it's a way of being like sexually liberal and all that stuff like that. But it's just, there's something off about it, and so it always gave me this off feeling about Kate.
Well, they're doing.
They definitely got like a sexual predator vibe right from the very beginning.
Yes. They, but again, they kind of did the whole thing with she's supposed to be the cool aunt, and she's supposed to like, oh, she's taking care of Allison and she loves Allison. She's this kind of lovable, kind of reliable character, and then they want to skew that. And they did the same thing with Jennifer, where it's like, you give us this character that's really kind of likable and a little kind of doofy, and, oh, she's going to be a love interest for Derek. And then it's like, oh, but then we're going to screw that up and make her the villain. By planting those seeds and demanding this kind of immediate investment, and then telling people to immediately lose that investment, you're going to run into problems. And I think it's a problem that we run into with pretty much all their villains.
Yeah, now I kind of get it, because I mean, it's not the kind of complex writing like Game of Thrones where you just learn not to get attached to anything,
right?
And but the story is it's just so rich that you're like deep in it. But like this is not that.
Yeah, I think it tries to start and then it just loses itself. It stops becoming about let's explore the many facets of Kate and becomes more about we really love Jill Wagner and she's fun when she's sprouting these lines, so let's bring her back. And it's like, she's a child rapist. Like, stop trying to make her fun.
And when this story was supposed to be camp, there was allowances given to it. I was like, oh, okay. Obviously you're not going to cover this. But then when they started trying to go through this like serious, supernatural, dark horror, comedy mix thing, it was like, okay, but you're not meeting any of the standards.
Right, exactly.
I think...
Oh, go ahead.
Well, just one thing that you were talking about before, like saying at this point we're still like anti-Derek, like anti-the Alpha. I think that also depends on how you came into the show, because I know, like, for me, I started watching the show after I knew about, like, Derek and found out about them. So I never came into the show as, like, anti-Derek because I already liked him because I already had that, like, background. So for me, I think that, like, made a difference how I viewed the first season and how all this stuff played out, at least in terms of, like, my viewing of it.
That's
I could feel that would be different
too.
if you came in with, like, a blank slate watching it.
I thought that
you have like a different take on the characters.
I thought that was one thing. We were talking about that in Omega Heat, how, some of the aunties have this anger at people who haven't watched the show. But I said, it's very rare that you'll have people that will sometimes write fic but haven't watched the show. But in order to keep writing fic, they will watch so that they get the voices right, so that they understand more of the canon, so that they can kind of write around it. But there's so many entries to this show that to say that there's one perspective it's just wrong. It's just not correct. You're always going to get a million different perspectives because you get people looking at it from different points of view.
Exactly.
Scott's little head tilt when he suddenly got out of bed to go look at the shot and then just showed up on the scene. And then they were talking. He did his little head tilt like, ooh, I can hear you. I was like, oh, Posey. And then...
Yeah, I agree with what Amanda was saying. Like, the blank... Like, you can have a very the aunties assume that you can't have the perception that we do of canon without having been colored by Steric. I gave this show 2 shots before I even became aware of Steric. The first time when it aired, I stopped watching after the first episode because I couldn't deal with Posey's horrible acting. And then I tried it again when it came out on Netflix, and I think I hit I'm pretty sure it was after this episode that I was like, I just can't do this to myself anymore.
Right.
And the whole time I'm like, but Derek, I'm here, and I don't know if I have this thing for the born supernatural that's been through the world, and I have this thing against this suddenly new supernatural that I'm not going to fit into this society, and I'm going to fight against everything before I even understand it. And that's where I'm coming from when I see Scott. It's this complete disrespect for a culture, complete disrespect for the entire world that you've just been dragged into, and this assumption that you know better than centuries of tradition.
Exactly. I totally agree.
And this is something that we'll see later on that doesn't get delved into, is the fact that Scott never really appears to be going Omega when he should have.
He definitely should have. And again, that's another effect of them making him a true alpha. But he never seems to ever study about being a werewolf. There's never any thing where he's like, I want to know about the history. I want to know about what to expect. I want to know what comes next. We have Styles and Lydia making more of those kind of leaps than we ever see Scott do that I know of.
Oh, and you said you wanted to say something when you saw the Alpha, pounding away, next to Kate's car, and you were like, oh!
Yeah, we'll come back to that. Okay, we'll come back to that. I have something to say, but I need more information. Okay, Derek digging the claws into Jackson. He clearly lost control because he had the wolfsbane bullet. Is that when Jackson got turned into the Kanima?
No.
Okay, that is just a scratch.
This is when he gets the memories of Derek.
Or they're unlocked.
Jackson does?
I think is what... I think what it was going to end up being was that the memories his own memories are unlocked. Or something like that. Because, how he was supposed to be a Hale, but they never actually delve into it because...
Yeah. But, okay, we'll come back to that then. All right. Anything else to say before we move on?
I just wanted to say that I feel like... So the only reason that, I didn't give up on the show at this point was because Derek Hale is then shirtless the rest of this episode. And, Dylan's acting was really good, but I didn't think that he was attractive at all.
I thought he was too much of a baby face.
I didn't. I was like, ugh, his short hair, yeah.
You know what's funny?
But, yeah.
I was vehemently anti-buzzcut Styles. I did not like buzzcut Styles.
I'm still vehemently against buzzcut Styles.
But, okay, so he looked like a little boy to me, and he had them big old cheeks, and I thought he was adorable, but I never was like, oh my god, no, he's not cute in that way. Then he grew his hair out, and I was like, yes, finally, because season 3A hair, Dylan was everything. However, I was reading a fic where it was in the future, and he had a buzz cut, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh. And then I started putting more buzz cut styles in different fics and that kind of thing. And so I don't know what it is about it, but as grown, I could be okay, I can get with buzz cut a little bit more. I think once you lose some of the baby fat and whatever, I don't know what it is. Also because they just forgot how to do his hair the last few seasons, and I was like, just chop it off.
Can you imagine what a buzz cut would do to his angles right now? Like with how worked out he is right now, the cheekbones, the cuts. I mean, it would be great. But yeah, like when I first saw Styles, I was just like, oh, okay. But like physically, but like his acting and his timing and delivery and all that stuff was just so freaking amazing.
Very charming.
But I was like, he's a sidekick. How much time are they really going to give him? Like it's going to get less and less throughout the season, so I didn't get invested.
I thought that too. Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I came back, like I think it was like the third or fourth time after I had seen, like, because I was looking for new fandom, and I was like, oh, who's this Styles Derek fandom that has so much fic? And I was like, because I was coming from Death Steel, and once you come from Death Steel, it's like, where do you go?
Right.
And I was like, wow. So I was like, okay, I'll try rewatching this, and I just like pushed through it all, and I was like, wow, I love this.
Right.
But I mean, I still hadn't read a bunch of fic. It was just knowing that pairing had a lot, and I was like, and then I saw pictures, and I was like, is this for real? And then I went and watched it, and it wasn't. But I was like, it's good enough.
I think the fan art is where they finally got me. It was actually the art where I was like, I can't imagine Styles and this guy together, and I can't even imagine. And then someone did like a fan art, and I was like, ooh, well, thank you.
Never mind.
And with that in mind, let me pull up all these fics, and then the fics broke my heart, and I was like, God dang it, I'm in.
Yeah, because like I picked up on it, but like those chemistry between two male actors that you see on TV shows, and you're like, oh my god, I want that. It's like it doesn't always translate into like fandom engagement,
right?
So like I never so like it wasn't when I saw the first 3 times when I tried to give it a chance. I was like, I saw it there, but I wasn't like, oh, let me jump to that, because I was just like, it'll probably be not like they'll probably ignore it later on.
I love the idea.
Did.
I love the idea.
Sorry.
Oh wait, what's happening? Who wants to talk? Sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say, see, that's where, like, my experience differed, because I had, like, come in with that already in mind. So I was, like, looking for every interaction and, like, every instance of it, because I expected it, and that's basically why I started watching. So
It was just
I think that varies a lot for how people... What?
I said it was just a bummer. Like, God dang this show.
First it was okay, and then downhill from there. But that definitely, I think, changes how you viewed the show, like why you started watching it or when you started watching it.
It's so funny. I feel like I just love the idea that the fandom was like that, and especially with me, this is one of the many reasons that I love Steric fandom so much. Because when I was starting the podcast, it was just supposed to be like a cheeky little review show about this show that we loved. And it was messy fun, and we were going to talk about it. And I know the Sterics from the beginning were like, I was like, ooh, y'all Sterics, I don't know. Y'all are kind of crazy. I'm not messing with you. Like y'all are on some other stuff. And slowly they were like, I just wanted to leave this in your inbox. You don't have to tell me what you think. Just take a look at it. I'm like, oh, what are Sterics leaving me in my inbox? I'm like, ooh. What are you leaving me in my inbox? Hello, thank you. Yeah, and I just love that it was like, okay, you watch the show, now look at this, now watch again, you're welcome. And I was like, God damn you, Sterics.
I remember your resistance to it. You were like, I remember we talked with Momo, and you were a little bit more into it than she was. Or it sounded that way to me, and it was just like, we're gonna talk, and we're not gonna talk about it. We're gonna, but you would pull back.
Yeah,
and it was just like you could tell you really, really wanted to, but no. Y'all were so conservative at the beginning.
We really were.
Like it was messy for messiness, but like it was so conservative at the beginning.
It really, really was. And it wasn't.
I need to rewatch this because I gotta hear that. Not being Steric.
A re-listen. Oh, there's just this graduated like line where you could see like each episode. We're like, I don't know, and then I'm like, Steric is eternal. It's just going crazy. So, oh my God, how exciting. Oh, speaking of which, I am going to be doing another fanversation with Sasha, who does a Shipper's Guide. We're going to be talking ABO.
Oh, good.
And I think that will be a lot of fun. Yes. All right, we are at 10:58, and we are going to start in 3, 2, 1, and play. Oh, there's the Jeep. It's been around, I just like it. Oh, I forgot about this. Included in my dreams. Do they not see this guy on the ground?
What are you doing here? Oh, shot. He's not looking so good, dude. Where'd you healing?
I can't. It was a different kind of bullet.
What, silver bullet?
No, you idiot.
Wait. That's what she meant when she said you had 48 hours.
What? Who said 48 hours?
Who shot you?
He fucking knew. Oh my God.
I'm trying to tell you I can't.
Scott McCall.
Scott is a dick. He's so rude.
I was like, get up. Like, help him get up. Like, God.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
So,
Help me put him in your car.
I need you to find out what kind of bullet they used.
How am I supposed to do that?
Because she's an Argent. She's with them.
Why should I help you?
Because you need me.
Allison has gotten out of this car like 3 times.
Get him out of here. I hate you for this so much.
Hi. What's he doing here?
Styles was just, giving him a ride.
Yeah, he
You
was.
said you weren't friends with him.
No, not really. We're still studying together, right? So I'll meet you back at your place?
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
See you there.
Wait, does Allison have a car? Yes. Okay, never mind. I love Jackson. Oh my God.
How did you... You got here the same time I did.
Oh, yeah, I just took a shortcut. Really shortcut.
What is going on with you today? You're acting all kinds of bizarre.
I'm just stressing about classes. Not doing as good this year.
Not doing as well.
See, exactly.
Maybe we should start with English?
Damn.
Don't worry. Nobody's going to be home for hours. Come on.
Okay.
Is he not? Is he supposed to be like a vampire? What was that?
Haven't you been here for like over a month?
Taking my time.
Hey, so, I figure that we start with, history.
Was he dating Shauna at this point?
What's wrong?
Nothing. I don't want to make you feel like you have to do something you don't want to do.
I'm not doing anything I don't want to do. Are you?
Seriously asking me that question?
Are you gonna answer that?
Yeah, it's probably just Styles. It'll go to voicemail. Eventually. Wait. Yeah, answer it now. Yes.
Hey, try not to bleed out on my seats, okay? We're almost there.
Almost where?
Your house?
What? No, you can't take me there.
I can't take you to your own house.
Not when I can't protect myself.
What happens if Scott doesn't find your little magic bullet? Are you dying?
Not yet. I have a last resort.
What do you mean? What last resort?
Oh my god, what is that? Oh, is that contagious? You know what? You should probably just get out.
Start the car. Now.
Yeah, I don't think you should be barking orders with the way you look, okay? In fact, I think if I wanted to, I could probably drag your little werewolf ass out into the middle of the road and leave you for dead.
Start the car. Or I'm gonna rip your throat out. With my teeth.
Oh,
Iconic.
right.
It's off. Sorry about that.
Really? You can silence a phone without having to turn the whole thing off.
Hey, and we'll talk about the other part later.
Who's this?
That's my dad's sister, Kate. Except she's more like my sister. She got here last night.
Last night?
Yep. She had some car trouble. I guess.
She looks familiar.
She actually used to live in Beacon Hills. Maybe you saw her once.
Did you take these?
That's when I thought I was a photographer.
They're good.
No, they're not.
They're really
I stopped
not.
when I realized I was terrible at it. Framing's off, bed lighting, believe me, not good. That was when I thought I was good at painting. Terrible too. That's when I tried poetry. Terrible doesn't even come close to describing that.
What are you good at?
Dang.
I'm gonna show you if you promise not to laugh. So I was naturally rinked as a kid, and my dad really wanted me to go on, but I don't know. Just didn't really like it. Promise you won't laugh?
I promise. What the hell is that?
It's a compound bow, and I'm pretty sure it requires an arrow to be harmful.
So that's what you're good at? Archery.
You said you wouldn't laugh.
Trust me. I'm not laughing.
Dang, Allison. She let all her family business out.
So, I guess I should explain. We're not some sort of separatist gun nut family.
But you kind of are.
My dad sells firearms to law enforcement.
Oh, that's good. So, you planning on joining the family business?
I don't know, you tell me. Would I look hot with a gun?
I'd rather without.
Hey, Chris, get your ass out of the 50s and come help with the groceries.
Right there. Do you mind helping? No problem.
Hello, Chris.
Great.
You got busted.
Thank you.
What time is it?
Do you still want to say?
Looks about 6 o'clock, maybe. 5:36.
Guess I'll see
I
you
think it was
later.
20.
That's cool.
Hour was 20 on his phone, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
On your bike, you.
I'll look it up.
Oh, come on, Chris. Really? They were making out in the garage, not shooting amateur porn. You, with the adorable brown eyes, drop your bike. You're staying for dinner.
Allison is just like,
It was 5:37 p.m.
oh. What time does school get out? Like 3:30?
You don't mind?
3:45.
Yeah.
2:30 to 3:45. Yeah.
Oh. We are pressing pause. If I can get over there. There we go. At 21:36. Dear Scott McCall. Okay. I was good until Derek was like, what lady? And then Scott was like, the one that shot you.
That I wasn't going to mention.
That I wasn't
until I was
going
an idiot.
to mention.
Yeah, because I was like that back. I went back and I was like, at the beginning when I first saw this, I was like, why isn't he going after whoever got shot? Obviously, it's not the alpha. But then I was like, okay, maybe I'm just overreading it. And then we get to this scene and it's like, oh, you knew.
I never even noticed. I completely glossed over that not only did he not say anything, he didn't mention it, he didn't notify anybody because he knew it wasn't the alpha that got shot. So why not call the police and be like, hey, somebody got shot? That is
Scott McCall is a terrible person.
insane. What's his excuse for that? He went to school the very next day. And so then we end up with this situation where he's ignoring Styles' call. And I'm like, it's one thing to ignore Styles' call because I'm hanging out with a girl. And it's another thing to ignore Styles' call who I just saddled with a werewolf who just got shot that he's with.
And at this point, like, Scott's not supposed to be super trusting of Derek. He's supposed to be wary of him. So you're leaving your human best friend with someone that you don't fully trust, who has been shot with something that's going to make him die and already has him acting out, like, werewolfy. And like, oh, I'm just going to turn off my phone.
And make out with my girlfriend. Oh, Scott.
That always killed me. Like, why turn off your phone? Why not just put it on silent so it doesn't keep ringing? Like, why turn it off? Especially with, like, someone who's dying.
Because he's not taking you seriously. He does not take this seriously. They could have done created an animation where he silences the phone and it still shows the AT&T crap.
Right. Yikes.
Okay, so he ends up with Styles instead of... Okay, so at the beginning of this, we see that he's sending Scott out, and then he ends up going straight to Styles instead of Scott.
Yeah.
Who's in his bike.
Yeah, because Scott was right there.
And then they wonder why we think that they have some kind of connection with each other.
Exactly.
Like, these things keep happening.
Like, he's dying, he barely knows the kid, but still it goes straight to him.
Because he has...
And then even in when they first meet each other in episode 1, like, Derek is talking to Scott, but it's like he cannot keep his eyes off Styles.
Well,
and Styles is like flabbergasted.
And again, they have this other thing with where Scott is just always so fed up, and Allison once again is giving him all these allowances. Like, oh, I thought you guys didn't know that guy, or I thought you said that he wasn't friends. And then Scott's like, I'm still coming over tonight, right? And just no questioning. I mean, like, you are shady boots, and I need you not to know. Do not come over. I'll meet you at the library, homie. Really.
And I mean, up till this point, we still don't see Scott really stressing about lying to Allison. And I mean, I think even later, well, I mean, we'll see when it happens, but like, he's more stressed out about how he feels not being able to tell Allison anything than how she would feel.
Right. It's hard for me.
Yeah, I think his biggest stress of lying to her is that he's like a terrible liar and can't come up with anything quick enough, so he just sounds stupid.
Right.
I took shortcuts.
Oh my god.
And then we get to the point where he's like, they're stopping the car, and Scott's like, get up. And it's like, he's been shot.
You know
he's out of
shot.
control. Help him up. And then you get to, why should I help you? Like, really?
I'm like, Scott, there's a difference between not helping someone and leaving someone for dead. I'm still reeling that he like knew 100% that Derek got shot. And then was just like, yeah, she shot you.
And then
another, like, what the situation? Like, there's a guy that you know, whether or not you like him, who's dying in your school parking lot.
Right.
Don't you think you want to get him out of the public eye, like, a little quicker, because that covers your ass, too, so that you're not, like, exposed? You'd think that would just be, like, I don't know, common sense.
Too much like right.
No, and you're right, Scruffy. It just emphasizes that he still does not consider himself a werewolf, or that he's exempt from werewolf type things. Like, him. If they get discovered, it's not me, it's them.
It's like, just because you don't consider yourself one doesn't mean you aren't.
Doesn't mean that this isn't happening to you.
Yeah, you can't just, like, pretend it's not there and then it'll go away. Like, that's not how the real world works.
And he wastes so much time being in denial, more than he ever learns. And so during all this stuff, all this important, heavy stuff is happening, and he's like, I gotta get with the girl. And there's a point of that can be endearing, but they make it too heavy. They make it too much stuff for it to be like, where him going after this girl becomes reckless than it does endearing or cute. Like, we're not, at this point, we're not rooting for him to be like, oh, Scott, I really want you to get the girl, and I want you and Allison to work out, as much as we're like, what's going on with everybody else? And can you please figure out what's happening? It's just really, really strange.
He's just very, very self-absorbed.
Very much, yeah.
No concern for anyone who isn't him, even when all those things can affect him. Still zero concern.
Yeah.
And then with the anti's racism goggles on, really, that line, maybe we should start with English. And I was cracking up. Because I'm like, okay, so supposedly this character's been Latino since the very beginning.
Allison had snaps.
And they go with that line?
I think I would have thought that he was more Native American, especially when they had him like at the threshold of the Argent house, and I'm like, do they have to invite him in? Like, what is going on? What is happening here?
He could have been anything, but the fact is that they didn't really give us anything, so we're just like, okay, here's a kid with ambiguously darker skin.
Right.
Like, playing a white character, like they always do, and that's all it was.
Exactly.
Until they tried to cash in on it, and then it was like something.
Mm-hmm.
But, so there's that, and then, okay, so earlier today we were talking about, dog references that Styles makes towards characters, and how later on Styles will do something to Scott that supposedly dehumanizes him. But here you hear Styles telling Derek, like, you shouldn't be barking orders at me. And it's a very deliberate word choice that Styles always does. He picks on them being werewolves and it's like, don't take your little werewolf anger out on me.
Yes,
and like he does these things in his human way of being like, you're acting like an animal, or you don't get to treat me like that. And I mean, that's where I get it from. Like, not in the like, literally you are an animal and don't deserve rights and all that crap.
Well, yeah, I think that's what it is that it starts and ends with you being a werewolf, which is like a dog. It's not, you have desecrated my human rights, and so therefore I am robbing you of your humanity. It's like making a stupid joke about a dog, I don't know.
Yeah.
I never think it goes that far. But we'll definitely talk more about that when we get to that scene. Now it looks like we are at the dinner scene. Scott has a glass of water in his hands, but I'm betting it's going to be Aunt Kate who spills the tea. Ooh.
I stopped this episode when I first saw it so many times.
Right.
This whole conversation is just so freaking awkward.
Oh my God. Here we go. And we are at 21:36, and we will be starting in 3, 2, 1, and play.
Would you like something else to drink besides water, Scott?
Oh, Mama Argent.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
We get you some beer?
No, thanks.
Shot of tequila?
Dad?
A shot of tequila.
You don't drink, Scott?
I'm not old enough to.
That doesn't seem to stop many teenagers.
No, but it should.
Good answer. I don't know why, but well played, Scott. You may yet survive the night.
You smoke pot?
Okay. Changing the channel to something a little less conservative. So, Scott, Allison tells us you're on the lacrosse team? I'm sorry, I don't know anything about that. How do you play?
Well, you know hockey? It's not like that, only, play it on grass instead of ice.
Hockey on grass is called field hockey.
Oh. Yeah.
I was going to say, it is nothing like that.
Except these 6 segments.
Exactly.
And can you slap check like hockey?
Yeah, but it's only the gloves and the sticks.
Sounds violent.
I like it. Scott's amazing, too. Dad came with me the first game. Wasn't he good?
He's fine.
He scored the last shot, the winning shot.
True, but he didn't score it all into the last few minutes.
His last shot, Herb told her the goalie's net. It was incredible.
Yeah, well, I think the goalie was probably playing with a defective stick, so...
You know, on second thought, I think I'll take that shot of tequila.
You were kidding, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
What am I supposed to do with him? Take him somewhere, anywhere. And by the way, he's starting to smell.
Like what?
Like, man.
Okay, take him to the animal clinic.
What about your boss?
He's gone by now. There's a spare key in the box behind the dumpster. You're not gonna believe where he's telling me to take you.
Did you find it?
How am I supposed to find one bullet? They have 1 million. This house is like the freaking Walmart of guns.
Like, if you don't find it, I'm dead, alright?
I'm starting to think that wouldn't be such a bad thing.
And think about this.
Rude.
The Alpha called you out against your will.
He's gonna do it again next time. You either kill with him or you get killed.
Oh.
So if you want to stay alive, then you need me. Find the bullet.
You look like a little lost puppy.
Puppy?
Bathroom?
Racist.
Does that look like a bathroom? It's a guest bedroom.
She's so creepy.
Thanks.
Jesus.
She's totally checking him out.
She totally checked her out.
She's so creepy.
Her boots are everything, though. Close it all the way.
Maybe we didn't want to make noise.
Stop making excuses, Scott. The show makes enough for him. Just take one of each. Doesn't matter. Just go.
No, he
Right?
needs the
No.
special.
Just grab one. Or stop to stare at it.
I know, like, let's look at it.
Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, my eyes flash and I can't tell. Like, really? Oh, and my vision goes all red, and I don't know what the difference is. It must be my allergies.
See, finally, Scott is using some...
Dude,
No,
using that
take a
stuff on
picture of
3G
it.
would take forever in the real world.
Take a picture of it. Is he really?
And look up the rest of it in the bathroom.
He's an idiot. Oh, I almost thought he was being smart. God dang you, Scott.
Does Nordic blue monkshood mean anything to you?
It's a rare form of wolfsbane. He has to bring me the bullet.
Why?
Because I'm gonna die without it.
Hey,
You see, he doesn't look like he doesn't care, no matter what he's saying.
thanks for dinner.
Oh, no. You have to stay for dessert. I want to know more about you. Sit down.
Okay.
Allison was just telling us that you work for a veterinarian.
I told them how you put the cast in the dog.
Tell them you have to go.
What does your boss think of the animal attacks? Any theories?
Everyone's just saying it's a mountain lion.
Have to be a pretty large mountain lion.
What do you think, Scott?
I don't know. We usually get cats and dogs at the vet. Nothing that vicious.
Never had to deal with a rabid dog. I grew up with a lot of dogs. I saw one get rabies from a bat. It was transferred through the bite. But people think that a rabid dog just suddenly goes mad. It's a lot more gradual. First stage is subtle changes in behavior. They're restless, morose. It's the second stage that people know, the furious phase. That's when they attack. And we're talking any moving object. Did you know that a caged rabid dog will break its own teeth trying to chew through the bars?
This is all
It'll
racist.
even rear back and snap its own spine. Can you imagine the amount of force it would take to do that? It's a complete character reversal. This harmless animal
He doesn't know what character reversal
turned into a
means.
perfectly vicious killer. And it all started with that one bite.
But it died, didn't it?
Yes, because your grandfather shot it.
Because he wanted to put it out of its misery.
Because it was too dangerous. Something that out of control is better off dead.
Amazing.
Why does he have to take his shirt off while he's holding up the styles?
You know, that really doesn't look like anything some echinacea and a good night's sleep couldn't take care of.
The affection reaches my heart. It'll kill me.
Positivity just isn't in your vocabulary, is it?
He doesn't get here with a bullet in time. Last resort.
Which is?
You're gonna cut off my arm.
I'm so incredibly sorry. For that being the worst, most horribly awkward dinner ever in the history of horribly awkward dinners.
No, it wasn't the worst. It was this one dinner where my parents told me they were getting a divorce. This comes in a close second.
Huh. We're going to have to talk about that, too.
Dad's watching.
Wait a second, guys.
What is it?
I have to ask Scott something.
Me?
Yeah. You.
Okay.
What'd you take from my bag?
What?
My bag. What'd you take from it? You need me to repeat the question? Maybe enunciate more clearly?
What are you talking about?
My bag was open in the guest room, and when I left, it was shut. And Scott comes in to use the bathroom. He leaves. My bag's open.
He didn't take it.
Something was taken from my bag. Now look, I hate to be the accuser here, Scott, because I really do love those adorable brown eyes. And I don't know if you're a klepto, if you're...
Kate is the worst, and I love her. Dang it.
But answer the question. What did you take?
Nothing. I swear.
You don't mind proving it, do you?
Are you serious?
Why don't you show us what's in your pocket?
Dad?
Come on, Scott. Prove me wrong.
I'll prove you wrong. It wasn't Scott going through your bags. It was me.
You.
Me.
Still classic. Still wonderful. Horny
I'm
Dallas.
surprised you did not put a chastity belt on her.
Right?
Derek's dying.
And he gives him the big cheesy smile. All
Derek's
right.
dying, you asshole.
We paused at 32:20. Oh man, this show. Okay, so the lacrosse thing made me laugh. But it does make me wonder. We know Derek played basketball, and basketball was the big sport. But only, 6 years had passed between that day, 6 to 10 years or whatever, have passed since, Derek left. What made that change? Because we never hear about football at all. And lacrosse is the sport, at least ever since these boys have been in the school. I wonder what caused that change. I wonder if it had anything to do with the fire. And I don't know. It just seems very strange.
Maybe they lost the championship after, Derek disappeared or after he withdrew from Paige.
Yeah.
And then, lacrosse won a championship that they never really won, and people say, that would have been a fun, good storyline.
Yeah.
That they completely left out.
That would have been cute. Also, I did laugh. He was like, it's like hockey on grass, but not ice. And he was like, hockey on grass is field hockey. I was like, yes, Papa Argent. And then Scott said, oh, that's not one of the most awkward moments. One of the most awkward moments is my parents telling me about the divorce. But we were led to believe, unless I'm remembering this wrong, and I may be, but I thought that Raphael pushed Scott downstairs and left, and then Scott didn't see him again until 3A.
Yeah, but then the episode before, they talk about how Scott used to ride the bus from his dad's house. So, that story is all over the place.
It is all over the place. Because he was like, I didn't want to see you. That doesn't mean I didn't want you to see Scott or something like that. And then we're like, but you pushed him down the stairs. So why would you want him to see your kid? Just all this weird. It's like every single after school, my parents are divorced story that they could find mixed in with a little bit of abuse and pushing your child drunkenly down the stairs. It's super lazy.
At the beginning, it's like Scott is talking to Derek, and it's like he's whining about having to help him. He's like having dinner, and there's no urgency in what he's doing. He's not rushing through dinner because he's worried about Derek. He's just fiercely trying to make Allison feel better and make a good impression. It's priorities here.
Well, you know what also lends to that? Because I do remember watching this and wondering, am I supposed to care what happens to Derek? Where is this going? Because I'm like, are him and Derek going to end up being friends? Is Derek going to die? Why are we spending all this time on Derek? I just had no concept of him being a main character. That was like, I want to learn more about Scott and Allison. You know, why are we having this Derek side plot? And so I understand who they were marketing to. But, like, again, to what end? Especially if they were going to make Derek so sympathetic and so, like, relatable, you know?
And, like, at this point, I was already thinking about Derek being Scott's alpha.
Oh, interesting.
You see, like, I mean, I was already, like, he's teaching him, he's being kind of alpha-ish, you know, he's gonna take the alpha back from whoever killed his sister, and, like, you know, and then the rest of the story is gonna be, like, Scott rebelling against, like, you know, playfully rebelling against his alpha, and his alpha, like, being like, I gotta pick up all the pieces now, like, 'cause he fucked up. And, like, that was gonna be it.
Pick up the pieces. Yeah. Ooh, if only.
And then, Kate, literally checking Scott out as she sends him not to the actual guest bathroom, like, you know, the one on the first floor, the one on the second floor. You know there's one on each floor. No, she sends him to the bathroom in her bedroom.
In her room. And then it's like, when'd you take out my bag?
Is she going to wait for him to come out?
And why does Kate have all those condoms? What was she planning? Oh, Kate. Catherine.
Well, from the way that she checked out Scott's butt, she was planning something.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to have some fun before I exterminate you. Before I put you down the dog you are.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, how bad they are at, like, covering their own butts. Like, she left the bag hanging out under the bed. Like, push it, like, 3 inches further, and you're
right. Put it in the closet.
They can't do anything right. They're terrible at this.
Exactly. But so self-righteous about it. And so sanctimonious.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Styles' look of terror. Like, you know how people have been harping on that line that Styles makes about, like, letting Derek die and all that stuff like that. But you see the look of, like, concern on his face while he's saying all these things. Well, or, like, while he's talking to Scott, like, hurry up.
The fact that he's still there. He could have just taken Derek to the animal clinic and left. The fact that he, like, rode around with him for hours in his Jeep without anywhere to go while Scott was off playing house. And it was just like, okay. See, he clearly cares.
But, like, you can see it not only in his face, but his actions, that, like, how he feels is the complete opposite. You know?
Exactly.
And then we get to the Argents. Did the Argents know about Deedon? Because the weirdly pointed question about being a vet's assistant, like, at the time didn't raise any flags for me, but now I'm like,
Well, if Dean was their emissary, they would have had to have known about him. But honestly, I don't know. Because even that's all kind of convoluted.
Yeah. And then the whole rabid dogs, like, scene story, you were saying something in the background. I didn't even hear you. You were like, that is so... Oh,
I said, that's racist. I was like, they're being racist to Scott. But no, it's not. It's very stupid. But I did actually like that. And I remember liking that when I watched it. Because they were like, basically like, we're going to put you down, Scott. Yeah. But the funny thing was, I thought that was interesting, is that you could tell Scott was thinking about Derek. And he was like, oh, Derek is definitely going to die. And, you know, they're going to put him down. I feel like, again, Scott was detached. I don't think he thought, oh, they're talking about me. I think he thought, oh, they're talking about Derek.
Maybe. I don't know. I think he was starting to get it, and then he, like, forgets about it later, which it seems like.
After Allison shows the condom, yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, okay, you see the whole scene where he's walking Allison out. He's making her feel better about her parents interrogating him instead of, like, hey, come on, I gotta go. Mm-hmm. Like, Derek is dying. He's not sick. He's not, like, you know...
Oh, we get that big, beautiful
poor.
Smile.
He's dying.
That big, goofy smile where he's like, oh, she likes me. And I'm like... Scott, if you don't get on your bike and go to work.
Even before that, if he had rushed out, he wouldn't have even been caught by Kate, you know, like, questioning him, and he would have been out the door and gone.
Well, they were like, sit down, we are going to stay for dessert. And I was just like, what? Like, Scott, you
And you can't get out of it? Like, really?
You need to go. Oh, he's such a mess. I love it. All right. Hold on. Let's see. Here we go. We are at 32:20. We're going to press play in 3, 2, 1, and play.
Oh my god.
Ah!
What if you bleed to death? It'll heal if it works. Look, I don't know if I could do this. Why not? Well, because of the cutting through the flesh, the sewing of the bone, and especially the blood. You faint at the sight of blood? No, but I might at the sight of a chopped off arm. Alright, fine. How about this? Either you cut off my arm, or I'm gonna cut off your head. Okay, I'm so not buying your threats at you. Oh my god, okay. Alright, boss. Totally. I'll do it, babe. I'll do it.
See, I would just say this is when it starts.
Holy god, what the hell is that? My body is trying to heal itself. Those not doing a very good job of it. Now, you gotta do it now.
He said, how does something so vile come out of something so pretty?
Oh my god, okay. Oh god. All right, here we go. Scott? What the hell are you doing? Oh, you just prevented a lifetime of nightmares. What are you gonna do with it? Here.
Ew.
Wake up. Scott, what the hell are we gonna do? I don't know.
This is so stupid. Move the freaking shelf and lift the grate.
I think he's dying. I think he's dead. Hey, just hold on.
Oh, God.
I got it. Please don't kill me for this.
Exactly. Yeah. Dylan O'Brien is always licking his lips.
Awesome. Yes. You okay? Except for the agonizing pain. Guessing the ability to use sarcasm is a good sign of health.
Aw, look, they kissed.
Which means you're gonna leave us alone. You got that? And if you don't, I'm gonna go back to Allison's dad. I'm gonna tell him everything. You're gonna trust them? You think they can help you? Well, why not?
Oh no, this is that scene.
I can show you exactly how nice they are. What do you mean?
Beacons. Beacons Crossing?
Man,
Peter.
Ian looked rough.
Yeah.
Who is he? My uncle. Peter Hill.
What was with the 80s?
Wait, did you see the subtitle? It said Peter Hill.
Like you?
And now he's
You
barely...
mean like us?
6 years ago, my sister and I were at school.
6.
Our house got fire. 11 people were trapped inside. He was the only survivor. So, what makes you so sure that they set the fire? Because they're the only ones that knew about us. Then they had a reason. Like what? You tell me what justifies this. They say they'll only kill an adult, and only with absolute proof. But there were people in my family that were perfectly ordinary in that fire. This is what they do. And it's what Allison will do.
What are you doing? How did you get in here?
We were just leaving.
Hey, maybe I cut you before I went to sleep, but, I wanted to say sorry again for tonight. So, call me.
Detective Allison.
The one that attacked me was big. It had width and power. But the one I shot was lean and fast.
Well, that would be Derek Hale.
We sure?
Mostly.
Well, how do we know it's just the two of them?
We don't yet. But if Derek's still alive, he will lead us to the Alpha.
Take the pack leader and take the pack.
And we do it according to the code.
You got the code.
It's there for a reason, Kate.
Of course. I always play by the rules.
The end.
God bless.
Oh, wait. Yikes. I swear. Okay, so first things first, Peter Hill, which made me laugh. He said 6 years ago they set my house on fire.
Mm-hmm. Derek Hale is 22.
Well, roundabout. He's between 19 and 22. I still believe he's super young. But if we're going with that he was 16 when Kate seduced him, then yeah, he'd be around 22. But I definitely think Kate is in her 30s.
Yeah. God, that's gross.
But damn, if he was 19, he would have been 13.
I know. And that's I'm like, yeah, I know.
And I'm sorry, but when they have Ian Nelson playing the scenes for Derek, is he in middle school?
No, he's in high school.
Because he should be in middle school, shouldn't he?
I know.
Ian Nelson is he's what, 24 now?
No, I know, not because of how he looked, but because of the whole idea that Paige is before Kate.
Paige is the one
the fire. It only works out if he's in middle school or freshman year. When Derek is turning 15, he's with Paige. Then she dies, and then sophomore year he's with Kate, and then she burns down his family.
Basically, which is why Derek should be so much more messed up than what he is. Because he should just be totally off women. Which is the thing that makes me so mad when they keep... Jeff, someone had linked an article in Receipts where Jeff was like, I don't understand why they see a character who is previously been portrayed as straight or seemingly been as straight, and he's in all these relationships with women. And I was like, he's in all these rapey relationships with women. When 50% of your relationships are in sexual abuse, something's going on. Something is telling you that maybe that's not the gender for you. Say that again, Amanda.
So that might put you off women a little bit.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, just relationships in general. I mean, I get it. There's the idea of survivors becoming kind of almost over-sexualized as a way of coping, but they didn't go there with that, so they can't pretend it's that either.
Exactly.
It's just shitty writing.
Basically.
And then the whole, I can't see, all this show, it's like we're used to filling in the blanks.
I did
because we're so underrepresented in media.
Exactly. I did notice that Derek didn't say some of them were human. He said some of them were perfectly ordinary.
Perfectly ordinary?
And I thought that was an interesting turn of phrase. And then I thought that comment from Scott happened later. But I also, I think I put them on the roof at the hospital, honestly. I don't even remember that happened. I didn't even know that he had shown Scott Peter this early. I thought it was interesting that Scott didn't say maybe they had a reason. He said pretty definitively, oh yeah, so they had a reason.
Well, then they had a reason.
Yeah.
They must have... but it's it would have been well, what did they say their reason was? And then Derek could have been like, oh, we ran because we knew that they'd come after us next.
There was
if he was trying to imply that there was some kind of miscommunication, but that's not what's going on. Scott's and the thing is the fact that Scott can say these things, and the one where before that he says they're nicer than you are, right after that stupid rabid dog scene.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Scott technically knows Allison's family for about the same amount of time he knows Derek, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
they're just
they haven't exactly been nicer. They've been threatening him this whole time.
Yes.
But he's just blindly giving them the benefit of the doubt because he likes Allison.
And Derek keeps
he hasn't even known her for that long.
Derek keeps saying, I'm trying to help you. You need to listen to me. I'm going to save your life. Yada, yada, yada. But also, you need to stay away from this girl. And Scott is like, oh, no. I'm not staying away from this girl. And I hate it.
He's I'm 16, and this is the love of my life, and I'll never have another chance like this, ever.
Ever.
And he keeps going.
I just, the complete lack of care from Scott about just Derek's situation, where he is just personally, it's really kind of astounding that he was kind of allowed to get away with that for so long, because there was never a question. He was like, oh, they had a reason. And then Derek was like, well, what reason would they have to do this? And we never got an answer from Scott. And after this, we still don't get any kind of recognition from Scott like, oh, hey, that was messed up.
No, we get it from Styles.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. It's that people who I think people think oh, people saw Derek and they automatically hated Scott. But that's not what it is. Even pre-Derek, you identify with Derek and you see Scott saying these things to Derek.
Yes.
And it's oh, and they never resolve it. So then it's they created this fissure between Derek and Scott. And they were just betting on Scott being the more popular one, and that's not how it worked out.
Exactly.
And then the aunties sit there and say that we're giving all of Scott's good qualities and all of the good action Scott's done to Styles, but where?
Where? Where are
Where's
Scott's
he not
good
being
qualities?
just a selfish jerk who the things that come out of his mouth are just astonishing.
Yeah.
But we're taking away all his good qualities and giving them to Styles when Styles is the one doing the research, making an effort to figure out what's going on, trying to help Derek, who he barely knows.
Just even being there, just 100% just being there is such a
And
big
he doesn't actually have a horse in the race. This isn't his fight. This
Right.
isn't on him, but he's still there.
Someone said that
Where's
they were
Scott?
they were talking about Parrish, and they're like, Parrish is the one who's just oh, I'm just not here for this ish or whatever. And then or I didn't ask for this. And then, you know who was like, well, Scott is more like the one who said, I didn't ask for it. Unlike Styles, who was like, I asked for it and I don't even need to be here. And it's like, that's the entire point, is that he's loyal and he, cares about his friends and he's going to do what he can to help, which is not a trait that we have really seen from Scott yet. Everything is kind of tinged in this, I want you to leave me alone and I want to impress this girl. And that he's on a 2-track mind and that's where he's going. That's his motivation. And it's like, where do we go from here? When does he start changing over to, I want to help other people? Because we're still not there yet.
No, and I don't think we even get there till like later, like superficially.
Yeah.
Until like the next season, barely. And then it's like, oh, helping people is not telling them to live the way I want to live. And then it's like...
Yeah.
Woo. And then what is it? The third season is... they're coming after all of us. And then it's not until Styles is actually the victim, really the victim, that he starts caring.
Oh, man.
But whatever. So Derek will lead us to the Alpha, which you can remember how I think it was like 2 episodes ago. It was like they're using Derek to get to whoever this Alpha is, and they don't care that Derek hasn't committed any kind of crime. They're threatening him and basically like not bullying. They're threatening him when they surrounded him with those cars at the gas station. And they don't care that he hasn't broken the code because ultimately it'll lead them to this Alpha.
I don't understand why Kate asked. I would think that she would have known. Although, so this also lends more to the theory for me that Derek was like 13. And that she did not seem to recognize him at all. Which also brings us to another point where I'm like, if you were molesting this boy in high school, he had to be like a skinny, frail little thing. And especially if it's supposed to be like young Derek, or like, Kate, you are just messed up all around. But they give her the quirky lines and she's lighting matchsticks with her fingers and she's, doing all this other stuff. And she's like this likable villain, but I'm like, you're a monster. You are an absolute monster.
And it's so weird that freaking Chris can't see it.
Yeah.
Well, am I echoing?
You're good.
Okay, that Chris can't see it, and like she's literally taunting the code right in front of him, and he's just like, "Oh, that's just my sister."
Well, exactly. Just like they talked about with Gerard, they're like, "Yeah, because Gerard shot that dog." She was like, "Oh, because he was hurting or something like that." She was like, to protect other people, and it was just like, if no one else in this town knew about the Hales and knew that there were werewolves and no one was getting killed, who are you protecting? What is the code? We fight those who can't fight back. What's the code? Les bon temps le roule.
The new one or the old one?
The
old one.
It's
we fight those.
We hunt those who hunt the others, right? something to that effect.
We hunt those that hunt us, or something like that. Let me see.
Something ridiculous.
Argent code.
Argent bleu, doo.
We hunt those who hunt us.
There we go. We hunt those who hunt us. And I'm like, if nobody knew about the Hales, then how were they hunting you, sir? Such a mess. All right. Final thoughts. Fun app. Lots of choice, kind of steric-y, pre-steric moments where you're like, okay, I can kind of see where this is coming from. And especially the look that he gives Derek when Derek finally is starting to heal. And he was like, oh, I see your sarcasm is back. That must be a good sign. And Derek is like, I hate you, but I kind of like you. Yeah. And I'm like, I see it, boo. I see it. It's okay. Just give in to the string. What else? Final observations on Magic Bullet.
I just think that, like, this was so much better when it was camped, because I'm comparing this to, like, season 5 and 6, and even 4 a little bit. Like, it was so much, like, I mean, it's still crap, but, like, it was so much better this way than the over-serious route. With the aunties and their, like, you know, their insistence that if you watch the show and only pay attention to canon and, like, don't read too much, like, you don't try to read your own views into the show, that you'll see that Scott is, like, the lead and that there's nothing wrong with him and that he's the most interesting, wonderful character in the world. Like, no. Like, I mean, if anything, watching this again and trying to watch it objectively has just reaffirmed why I originally did not like Scott in the beginning. Because I remember during that whole Sterics Take Out Your Trash, where there was good Sterics and bad Sterics, that, you know, I tried to be a good Steric. I mean, I wasn't going to call out other Sterics, but I was like, okay, maybe I need to check myself. And I gave Scott allowances that I normally wouldn't have given him, and now that I'm rewatching it, I'm like, no, I hate him even worse.
Yeah. There are definitely, when not watching it as a casual viewer, when not binge watching it, when actually stopping to, like, talk about and look at it, there are so many allowances that Scott is given. And for them to not recognize it, this is why I constantly have contention with someone like Pew, who is like, oh, well, what's the difference between when Scott does X and then Styles does Z? Scott is judged for it and Styles isn't. But I'm like, X and Z aren't equal. And the reason that they're never going to be equal is because they're two completely different characters, especially in the ways that they react to things. You can't give me two disparate events and then say that they were perpetuated differently because of race, you know? Like, oh,
yeah, the difference isn't skin color, it's context.
It's context, exactly. And so I'm like, we're never going to be on the same ground. When you say, well, your actions are going to be dictated by my perception. And it's like, no, because I don't know your perception. Or I don't agree with your perception because my perception was obviously different. So you can't judge or dictate what my reaction is going to be without, you know, agreeing on the context. And it's just never going to happen. So, messy. Yeah. So we'll see. What's the next episode? What's it called?
Called Ethan's Getting Too Old for this.
The Tell.
Okay, The Tell. So we are going to be on episode 5. Very exciting stuff. Final thoughts, Amanda?
I don't know. I think got summed up pretty well. But, like, yeah, if they had just stuck with campy instead of taking it too seriously, I honestly think a lot of the stuff that, like, the aunties harp on, like, they would have gotten more leeway. But as soon as everyone tried to take everything way too seriously, if you actually watch the show back again, you realize that, like, what they're claiming to see is not actually there.
Right. Oh, God, exactly.
And it's just so funny to watch this back. Like, I haven't watched this in, like, years.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons we did it, is because I was like, I want to be a completionist and I want to have all the seasons, but I literally did not remember anything. And so I was like, okay, we got to rewatch this. Phillip, final words?
This show, I swear, I'm glad to be part of all of this, but, they had such good stuff to work with, and what they turned it into, you know, it grew. I mean, they got past 3A and had a hit with 3B, like, and then they just dropped the ball over and over and over consistently. But
Well, again,
no, Amanda's right. The aunties, it's just, you're looking back at this, and the stuff that they're cherry picking out of these episodes, when you put it in context, it's just like, it's nothing.
It's nothing. Teen Wolf is a case study in pettiness, and it just always has been. They've always been extremely petty, and when Jeff got to the point where he's like, I've lost control of this show, he then goes on this thing of, I'm going to try to regain control of this show while also chastising you for me having lost control in the first place. And so it's this weird tug of war with himself, starting with season 4 and then just never ending until the last minute of that 2-year flash forward, quote unquote. So yeah, it's a mess. How about you, hold on, I'm sorry. How about you, Ethan? Final thoughts?
Listen.
You love it. You love it.
The more I watch this, the more, like, I remember, like, all of even from the beginning, there were weird inconsistencies. Like, weird things that just didn't, like, make sense. And, like, I just can't help but think of all the meta people who literally spent hours and days of their lives dedicated to trying to make sense of it. And just having it yield nothing. It gives me life. Anything that do.
I am so mad, because I've always kind of had a soft spot in my heart for the meta people, because I'm like, I really love the theories and ideas you come up with, but I need you to know that this is going nowhere. And if you're actually relying on this to happen on screen, I need you to stop immediately, because that way lies madness.
Not only that, but it's like their conjecture would get like 3 or 4 levels deep.
Yes.
Like they would like make one conjecture, and then all of their next conjectures would be like piled, like they would hinge on the other thing being true. Exactly. Yeah, and it's just like,
and they would bring up different theories and lores and other creatures and that kind of thing. And like, well, clearly he was influenced by the 18th century. No, he just got drunk and watched an episode of Supernatural. No. I was like, I love y'all, but I need you to put this in
is when he was coming down from a coke orgy bender after having,
I told you,
like, spent some time with his blonde twink boyfriend.
I told you my theory about writing for Allison in season 3A, where she got to the table read and was like, Jeff, I don't see any lines. And he was like, oh, you know what? They're in my car. I'll be right back. And then he showed up 3 months later after a coke binge in San Francisco. Talk about, I got you, girl. I got you. I'm like, no, do not put any trust in this man.
Yeah, but no, like literally, like I see things that, you know, like the meta people would just always reference, just from like going like this far back, or like thinking about like what gets referenced in the future and stuff like that, stuff about Peter, stuff about Derek and everything, and it's like, you tried really hard, and it went nowhere.
That's what cracks me up about the person who made the thing about basically making the complaint that I go on Tumblr and I'm looking for canon relevant stuff, and all I'm seeing is stuff about ships and all this other side nonsense. And if that wasn't there, and if more people watched the show, then we would have more canon relevant things. And I was like, you're looking at this, you're trying to act like it's the cause. Steric, in and of itself, is the effect. And this happens with every show. When a show starts with the basic premise and leaps so far away from it to the point where it's inaccessible, people are still invested in those characters. And so that's where the ships and the relationships and the kind of interpersonal things really start to happen. And people are like, all right, I'm going to let you get your canon together. And while you're doing that, I'm going to be Scallison AF. I'm going to be Steric. I'm going to be over here in my little world while you get this whole thing figured out. So it's not a function of, well, if there were no ships, then there would be better canon. No, if there were better canon, you would have less need for ships. Honestly.
Yeah. I just don't understand where that kind of complaint comes from, because they act like it's something new that's happened in Teen Wolf fandom,
right.
where like the AU or fanon has kind of dominated canon, and it's like even in Harry Potter fandom, like it started out being very canon compliant. Everybody was like,
yes.
"Oh, it's canon compliant up to book 2, 3, 4, except for this, or 5, except Sirius is alive," or stuff like that. Very detailed about how much canon was actually part of their thing, because a lot of people were very like, oh, if it's not canon, I'm not reading it. And it's like, really? But like, and then, like, I think, what was it, book 6 happened? Mm-hmm. And then it just, like, everyone was like, oh, I'm writing what I want to write. Like, this is fan fiction.
Like,
you're allowed to write whatever you want. It's canon divergent. It's alternate universe. It's all like, and this, like, little fight came out within the Harry Potter fandom that was just like, these are legitimate forms of fic too. Mm-hmm. And then it was just over and done with, and now everybody just lives in whatever. But they're trying to bring this fight of canon stuff after the show's already over.
Yeah.
Like, we know what canon is. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. And it's so convoluted and it's so based on interpretation. They make it so that the fandom has to fill in so many holes to even get to canon. And that's the part that they won't accept, is that all these different interpretations do exist. And their way of seeing it is valid, but so is other people's way of seeing it. So yeah, it's a messy. But
the thing is like, people tried to care about canon, but they let us down time and time again.
Oh man. When I tell y'all, I talk about it constantly, and I will never stop talking about it. The season 4 promo for the Benefactor Scavenger Hunt, that broke me.
Just no.
It broke me, because it was the ultimate middle finger to the fandom. The fandom literally got together. Like, we had teams set up where we were looking for clues. I was proctoring an SAT test. I was proctoring a test that would decide the futures for the future minds of America. And I was on my phone like, oh, girl, did you click on this? Did you try this number? What's going on? It's just, for it to have been so non-thought out, and then of course it brought in the thing, well, you just weren't smart, and obviously we made it too hard. No, you made it too convoluted. You literally had to start leaking clues to BNFs because nobody understood what you were talking about. It made no sense, and that's what broke me. I was like, that's why the next time they did it, it was Posey eating chicken wings. And so again, you have this issue of cause and effect. People are like, oh, Posey was eating chicken wings and it was cute, and people found reasons to hate on him, and I don't understand why. And I'm like, because it was a direct response to, we're not going to do all this crap again with the scavenger hunt because y'all got mad when we tried to make it fun. Oh, man. I love it.
Dark times.
I know, right? Everybody go check out Anthracite by shoot. It's called Anthracite, and it is by Ink to Blade. And evidently it is, Scott is a bad friend tag. And I wasn't thinking much about it, except I found out that it is pissing the aunties off simply because it is getting hits. That thing has like 28,000 hits. And then, it has like 28,000 hits, and then it has all these kudos, and it keeps growing in kudos, and the aunties are pissed. So I can't wait to read it. I'm super excited. That's all I got. What was this cartoon, Ethan? Hold on, I want to check this out.
I love this cartoon.
Wait. Oh, shoot. My mouse likes to act funny. There we go.
Yeah.
Injure. Scott, I swear to holy effing Jesus on a cheese stick cross. You're a werewolf. He's like, nah, you're wrong, bro. That's cute. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's basically season 1.
Yep,
Honestly.
that's like the first 4 episodes of season 1.
That's hilarious. That's going to be part of the art for this episode. I love it. Oh my god, amazing. Thanks so much for coming out tonight, guys, and we will see you next time. Say goodnight, Amanda.
Good night, everybody.
Say goodnight, Phillip.
Good night, everybody.
Say goodnight, Ethan.
Adios, muchachos.
Yay! Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.